Melted some aluminum. Hey everybody. So, I finally got the rocket stove complete. This version of it anyways. So this is a stainless steel version. Still has a little popcorn maker here. Has a fan at the bottom. So far, it's lasting. We'll see how long it lasts. So I'm using it right now to char these the ends of these posts. These are going to be my posts for my my fence, deer fence I'm putting in, and I want to char the ends that are going to be in the ground so that hopefully it'll last a little bit longer. It's apparently a good insect deterrent. That's what our forefathers used to do. Let me talk a little bit of this rocket stove. So it has two side feeds here for adding wood. The idea is I can just drop these pucks in here, and actually if I want to be, you know, out in the yard, do a little bit of work here, I can put a bunch of these pucks inside here and I'll just self-feed. There's a burning chamber here at the bottom with some grates. It will run without the motor here. So this is I call it traditional rocket stove mode, because this is the hole for the fan there, the little blower, which I'll use when I'm gonna melt aluminum. You can hear the rocket action starting to happen here. So I got these little covers here. That's just aluminum, and I put a little handle here so it wouldn't get too hot. I think I've successfully drastically improved the rocket stove design here. Traditionally, these things are tiny little branches that you got to push in, and I was just like, nah, that's stupid. You know, pushing your wood in, and like this thing here, you don't have to do that. Flip it around here. So there it is, operating without the fan. But of course the motor does a better job with the combustion. I don't get as much smoke, so I prefer to run it with the motor, of course. So while I'm at it, I figured I'd try to melt some aluminum. Roasting sticks. Marshmallows. I'm not sure how well this will work, but I figured if I'm going to put the fence in, I might as well have the odds in my favor as much as I can. So there's wood. This is I think this might be witch hazel. We've got witch hazel in here, and it's a piece of maple. And then there's superwood. This is Ernie's Cook maple. So this has like a 0% humidity content. So it'll burn really, really hot. So what happens in here is this chamber gets real hot, and it pre-dries the wood before it enters inside. So I've got really essentially cooked wood by the time it gets to the bottom of the chamber here. Now these are a little small. I did this test with larger cookies and it worked perfectly. So what I'm finding is that you need to have wood so that you can only get one on top of the other. If you have two side by side, then they'll jam up. So if you had uniform size wood, this works perfect. It self-feeds flawlessly by gravity. And by the time that wood hits the bottom, it's perfectly dry. So that's what you want. Nice dry wood. I'm going to try some of Ernie's wood. Those who are new to the channel. Ernie's my brother. It's not his real name, and Jack's not my real name either. The idea of this rocket stove is a multi-purpose rocket stove. I want to use this for boiling off my maple syrup. That's why I did this self-feeding system, so I could, fill this full of wood, and then I don't have to stick around and keep feeding it. Like my initial test, I had both sides full, and then I was able to get about an hour of burn. It's a prototype still, right? So once I get this one kind of fine-tuned and refined, this design, I'm going to be changing the blower to a variable speed blower that's rated for the proper temperature. And that'll be down the road. I'll probably use this one for a bit. The other thing I want to use with this for is I'd like to try to duplicate a Traeger grill kind of concept. So I have an old barbecue. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to use this rocket stove to smoke my meat, to dehydrate, hopefully, maybe, cook. Basically, it's going to react like the Traeger grill. It'll be a little bit of a convection type heat. You're wondering what's the point? You've already got a Traeger grill. Well, the whole point of this is, with this system, I could make a larger, much larger smoker. So I could smoke, a big 3 feet by 4 feet, 10 feet, whatever size I want. It's just a matter of putting the right wood in it, adjusting the blower speed to get some smoke, and should be able to get that working. The other thing I want to do is I want to make a kiln for my wood. So my firewood, I'd like to cook my firewood, pre-cook it. I'll get rid of any bugs, anything like that. I don't take my wood in the house until I'm ready to burn it, so the smell of the smoke won't be an issue for me. But what it'll do is it'll get my firewood down to a very low humidity content. So I'm aiming for close to 0 if I can. I don't know how many days it'll take. That's all something I'm trying. And there's an end project behind this too. Like, it's not just making this for my firewood. I also am working on a separate project for so I've got the sawmill. I will show that someday, guys. I haven't been showing it because I'm a little undecided. It's working out pretty good. It's not perfect, but there's some parts of it that I built that I might be able to patent. So I'm undecided how much I'm going to show. And anyways, so that's why I haven't showed the sawmill yet. But I plan to eventually make my own vacuum kiln, and I'd like to have a vacuum kiln that works really well. I want it to work off of wood. I'm trying to do everything here. All these projects that I'm playing with at home are environmentally friendly themed projects. So I want to get to either using wood or electricity. Woo! I melted some aluminum. I melted aluminum. How cool is that? I didn't expect to melt aluminum that quickly. So that's the other application. Is obviously a forge. So I should be able to heat treat a knife inside this thing, and a furnace to melt aluminum. I get a lot of aluminum for free. If you've watched all my videos, you'll see I've got some old Bitcoin miners, Antminer S9s that I get from one of my customers, which these days are worth a lot, so we've stopped taking them apart. But there was a time there where they weren't making money and people were getting rid of them. So I came up with several projects that I could do, different things I could build with it. And as I build stuff, I usually think of something else and something else. So sometimes I'm building an application like this seat, right? This little seat is made with, these are two recycled Bitcoin miner, as a piece of oak across the top. I should have put plywood because it cracked, but this seat here, this foam, is the pieces of foam that were inside my welder that were packed with it. And this is a grocery bag, basically, that I wrapped around it. It was a cloth bag. So it's a little seat. What's great is I can pull it with my foot. That's what this little hole is for. I can pull it. Let's see what this melted aluminum looks like. So this is just some little scraps of aluminum, actually from the first rocket stove that melted. I'm just gonna shove all this in there and stick it back in the fire, and maybe I can get some aluminum later. This area had wood chips on the ground, so it's all the wood chips are burning. This is another crazy little project I did. So I basically took just a water jug, and we had a watering can, and I was looking for a new one, and I always found that the watering cans don't have enough water inside of them. So what I did is I made one with this. So all you do is you poke a hole here at the top, so that's your vent. And then you drill holes in your cover here. You can pop this off, and you make this for free. You know, everybody buys one or two of these at some point when you know you're going to run out of power because there's a hurricane coming, and then the water kind of sits there, and you don't know what you want to do. And then by the time the next hurricane comes, the wife is saying, "Is that water still good?" I've got a VFD on my well, so someday I'll show the mechanical room. So my house, I can run my house off a little 12-volt battery and a little inverter because of the VFD, so I can run the well off of that. Those are all little things. When you're building your dream home, guys, take the time, design it the way you want. We took probably 2 years to design and refine this house before we actually got to build it. We've had this land, I think, since 2013, and we built our house. We started building our house in 2019, so gave us lots of time to refine the dream. Last time I ran this thing, it was nighttime. The whole thing was glowing, you know, like a reddish tinge. You can't tell right now, but this is at night. This that looks black is probably red. That's what made me realize that I probably melt the aluminum inside this thing. So the way I'm doing the aluminum, there's a grate in the middle here that's welded in, and that's why I got to feed the wood from the sides. I can't drop it in. Well, I can drop small sticks in, but this side feed allows me to put the wood in while I got a crucible in there. The other thing I want to use this rocket stove for is I plan to build a greenhouse. This might be my heater, I'm not sure yet. And what I want to do is have this rocket stove like this, but basically then drag that whole exhaust down into the ground. I'll probably line the middle of the greenhouse with stones, kind of like I did in the garden with the paving. So it'll be a walking path, but underneath it will be an entire length of probably these Antminer Bitcoin extrusions from the Bitcoin miners. So I'll weld them all together or tape them together, probably tape. I'll weld the first few and then tape the rest with aluminum tape, and I'll put them in the ground, and I'll run the exhaust of this down through under those stones. So I should be able to make a little fire, you know, and fill that, and it'll run maybe an hour, and then it'll act like a thermal mass heater. It'll heat that entire middle of the greenhouse, all those stones, and then that will be my my heat through the night. So, and then I could double that up by maybe putting some either some electric element in there, some kind of backup electric system, so if I go on vacation I'm not going to lose my banana plants. So yeah, you heard me, I did say banana plants in Nova Scotia. I do want to have banana plants someday. It's always been, I like to do, you know, cool different things, so there's a lot of potential to this little thing. This is an interesting little thing here. How well does this temperature control, or this temperature cool from back here? You can see when I put the stick here, so this is the pretty much the line where the grate is inside. You see down here, stick is fine. The second I go above this line with the stick starts to flame up. On here it doesn't. Of course, on the sides here, it's pretty hot. But when I go below, it's okay. So I just check inside and the aluminum is melted again. So that's cool. So this is just a piece of tubing. I bent this sheet of stainless here without a bender. Traditionally, you'll see guys on the internet, you know, they're taking square tubing, stainless, and they're welding it together. And so I'm trying a different approach here. I do have some square tubing stainless steel, but you know, I'm doing things the hard way. Why not, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm starting out with a plate, and I scored the bottom here with a table saw so I can get a nice straight line where I'm going to bend this thing. And then I've got my, this is actually going to be my grate, so these slots that I cut on the table saw will be my grate slots for the wood. And on this side, you can see what I've got it drawn out. So basically, this little line here is when I fold this over, if you can imagine this folded, these will just kind of come up and they'll actually weld onto this side at this spot. So the grate's going to be at an angle, and I'm going to have the fan here actually behind this, pushing air through these grates. These on the table saw, just using the steel demon blade in the table saw, which is, this is actually, if you're wondering how many I've gone through these, this is my third steel demon blade. This one here, I did the entire sawmill cutting with this one from new, so I was cutting steel. It was good when I first put it in here. You can see what's happening here. I got a nice smooth cut on the first one, and the more and more I go, the cut gets wider, and so the blade is vibrating as it's cutting, and it's really having a tough time to cut. So stainless is very hard on these steel demon blades. It will cut, but like I said, a couple times. So I've got these slots cut, and I don't think I can bend it even with these slots cuts. But what these slots will do is they'll ensure that my bend goes exactly on those lines. And then I'll come behind with the TIG welder and I'll just fill that in. This is 1/8 inch stainless, so it should be plenty thick for a rocket stove. Now I'm going to take basically the grinder and cutoff wheel, and I'm going to take a few cuts in here. just at a couple spots so I can bend it more easily. Alright, so this is my new welding table I just made. It's not quite complete, so I'll show you guys a video of this later, but it's all made with just old stuff being thrown away, all old metal pieces, parts, and get some Bitcoin miner for the legs here. Anyways, so I added to it a little, this kind of like a clamp slash bending jig. Anyways, it's just a couple pieces of tubing here bolted together, and I can tighten this up and do some bends. So I did some cutting here with the table saw. I did the groove, then I did the cutting all the way through with the zip cutter on the grinder, and so now I'm gonna just bend it. So let's hope this works. Get the first bend in there, now we're going to do the second bend. Jack's gut's got a lot of bending power. I'm using my gut to bend this one. Alright, that's the second bend. Alright, so 4 bends later and a few of these little bends here. This is what I ended up with. So as soon as I clamp this closed, I should get a pretty square tube, and then I welded all the seams. But what was really neat is I for welding these seams, so these had very big cracks. So I had like a larger than a 1/8 inch of a 1/8 of an inch crack, and I was like, I'm gonna use up all my welding rods to do that. So I had these little pieces of stainless, little narrow pieces, you know, like pieces this wide, and all I did is I took the TIG welder and I stretched them. I made basically, I melted them enough that I could get a bead. I got a bead all the way down, and then what I did is I went back over the bead and melted the bead into those pieces of metal. That worked really good. So yeah, when you have large gaps, you can use just a piece of stainless with a TIG welder and melt it. It worked really good. Alright, time to add more wood. Alright, let's get this aluminum out of there. A lot of people probably won't believe that I melted aluminum like this, but there it is. Crucible full of melted aluminum. See, it's just floating around in there. That, my friends, is aluminum. Do not touch. Very, very hot. Wouldn't be a good video, guys, if I didn't muck around with this. I'm curious if I can get aluminum on this stick. Let's see. There it is. Aluminum on a stick. There's the glow I was telling you guys about. See the red glow? So this is really hot. That's what that means. This side too. So All right, I got some extra PPE on. I'm gonna try this aluminum again. It is red hot, guys. This can is all hot, and I'm gonna try to pour it. Ah! Well, that didn't work. So I need a better pouring system. My first aluminum casting, well, technically. So I will make another video of that successfully pouring once I make a little pouring system there, and I'm really pleased because I was thoroughly surprised how easily I was able to melt aluminum. I figured it would be doable, but I thought I might have to, ceramic the inside and do a bunch of other things. This is just, there's no ceramic inside, nothing, and I've been able to melt aluminum. It took me maybe 15 minutes to warm up that crucible enough to melt, so I foresee some aluminum projects in the future with melted aluminum. That's going to be a lot of fun.